Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Hello and welcome into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm your host tonight, Cassidy Wood. The battle in Buccos in San Diego right now, taking on the Padres. Very hungry, likely to get a win tonight after the ending that happened last night. We'll get into all of that. Right now, the Pirates are up, though, 1-0, thanks to Brian Reynolds scoring O'Neal Cruz. Cruz hustling hard for that run. I am joined alongside Jason Mackey tonight. And Mackey, you know, I mentioned that call last night. We can just get right into it because how egregious was that? I don't think I've seen anything like that in a very, very, very long time. And I mean, it's the major leagues. This just can't happen in big moments like this.
No, it can't, Cassidy. I thought it was absolutely horrible. Shades of Jerry Meals, I suppose. But I mean, that was a different era, different technology, different rules. Obviously, the Jerry Meals thing is frustrating. It's frustrating to me to see what happened last night because Major League Baseball could fix it. Look around at other sports and where sports are going and utilizing technology. And shoot, baseball's doing it. I mean, they have the ability to challenge certain things, but you can't challenge that. Why there's no challenge system for balls and strikes, I do not know. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Major League Baseball needs to take a long look in the mirror, sort of like Andrew McCutchen last night, which, by the way, was hilarious. I loved it. That. But I don't know why it's allowed to exist the way it does. I don't think it's what the league wants. I don't think it's what players and managers want. It's merely logistics. It is abhorrent if they don't fix this for 2026.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL, we're seeing it starting this year, actually. They're not using the chain gang anymore. They're using that bird eye view or eagle eye view, whatever they call those cameras. So, yeah, it makes you wonder why they can't do that. We have the technology. Why you can't do that in the major league is beyond me. Now, you know, I saw some people saying the Clubhouse last night was pretty much the angriest they've seen it all season long, but a silver lining is it felt united is what they were saying. Do you think that maybe, even though it was such a terrible call and obviously it lost them the game, but is there maybe a little bit of a silver lining that, okay, this is something that all these guys can kind of get behind and get in the same boat and get angry together and go out there tonight and, you know, hopefully pull out a win?
Yeah, I think so, Cassidy. And I mean, I think this has been common since Don Kelly took over. This clubhouse is a lot more united. I know people don't want to hear that because the Pirates season is sunk. I certainly get that. I'm not saying the Pirates, you know, are back or they're going to make a run or anything like that. But I've been around this team quite a bit. You have too. And it's a different group. It's a different feel. I think something like this does bring them together. I wasn't out there, obviously, but I can't imagine how frustrated everybody was because you do have a game taken away from you. I mean, that's the tying run that's going to score. Who knows what else happens? Instead, you have it taken away from you. All you need to know, look at Mitch Keller. He's like the nicest guy on that team. Mild-mannered. He's from Iowa. He's never been mad at anybody in his life. I don't think so. And he's screaming obscenities from the clubhouse. He's so irritated. So, yeah, I do think it's something that can bring them together. I'll be interested to see how it plays.
Yeah, and Donnie Kelly getting, you know, the boot for the third time.
3 in 20 games, Cassidy.
But that's also kind of a good thing, I think. I think it, you know, gives some emotion to these guys and gets them buying into this thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And they love playing for Donnie Kelly, as they should. You can say a lot of bad things about the Pirates. You'd be accurate. You could talk about payroll, roster construction, drafting, trades, free agency, all this stuff. They have their flaws. I'm not saying they don't, but it's hard to not like Donnie Kelly and how he carries himself. It's hard to not respect Donnie Kelly and how he does things. I want to see where this goes. I do think he's going to be this team's manager next season. I like the fire. I like the balance that Donnie has between being real chill, low-key guy, relatable, normal person, and then when it's time to get mad and time to send a message, he has no problem doing that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing for sure that did not happen when Shelty was here and has happened under Donnie, 19 unanswered runs in 2 games. I mean, that was so impressive, and it wasn't coming from just a couple guys. It was spread out pretty evenly among these guys, and we haven't seen hitting like that all season long. Do you think that maybe some of that is going to continue at all, or do you think that was just an anomaly and, you know, we might not see something like that again?
No, I do think the offense is going to improve. It would be hard for it to get worse. Sort of an obvious statement there, but Brian Reynolds is not the type of player he's shown to this point. There's enough evidence that would say that. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has actually been pretty good lately. Alexander Canario is a player that Donnie Kelly has utilized much differently. He's put him in the lineups, kind of given him some comfortability there. Henry Davis, I think, has taken some strides. I mean, they're not fixed. Certainly not. Like Ke'Bryan Hayes looks lost at the plate. They haven't gotten enough out of young hitters that you'd like to see, you know, a Jack Sawinski type, or Jared Triolo has added nothing. Tommy Pham's been frustrated and frustrating, I should say. Joey Bart's on the IL right now. He has not had a great year. But yeah, I do think the offense can improve, if moderately. I mean, maybe you can get to, I don't know, 20, 21, 22 and runs, something like that. Right now, they're about 25, 26, 27. It's not good enough, certainly, but I do think they can get better.
Yeah, you mentioned Joey Bart on the injured reserve, giving Henry Davis now an opportunity. I mean, I was really high on this guy after that game he had. I believe it was against the Brewers, where it was like a complete game for him, and then he was out of the lineup the next night, and Joey, you know, played for him. But then he came back, and I just think, you know, he's a young guy, yes, but I think he is just such a spark for this team right now. And so I think as much as it stinks to not have Joey Bart in that lineup right now, I think Henry Davis is kind of filling those shoes a little bit.
Yeah, and he has to, Cassidy. They have to find out what they have in Henry Davis. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I know right now I want to see more. Joey Bart, with him being hurt, that's the easy part. He's got about a 650 OPS. It's been not what it was last year. He struggled defensively. It's going to be interesting when he comes back. I'd like to see them get him some first base at bats. That's something I've been talking about and even asking Derek Shelton about since last year. There's an opportunity. He hits left-handed pitching really well. Spencer Horwitz hits right-handed pitching really well. You could platoon those two guys. But right now you need to ride it out with Henry Davis. Give him some comfortability. That's what they did with Canario. You know, Derek Shelton would pull him in and out of the lineup. He'd do that with a lot of guys. And right now they have an opportunity to play Henry and let him get some continuity. If he can find something, I think we've seen it in spurts. He hasn't shown for any stretch of time that he can hit major league pitching, but he also hasn't had consistent playing time. So if he does, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Spencer Horwitz, also impressive as of late. I think he has 4 RBIs in just over a week. So still need a bigger sample size from him, but definitely another spark that this offense needs. All right, guys, give us a call. 412, we're going to head to our first break. 412-575-2600. We also have a live poll going on right now, KDKA.com/connect. Go ahead and vote there as well. What do you think's going to happen first? Let us know. Welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night from the Mariners. It's your time, Cole. Welcome to the show. North Allegheny's own Cole Young got called up to the big leagues tonight. Very, very exciting. It's always great when a hometown kid, you know, finally gets his number called. I mean, so impressive for him. Definitely going to be rooting for him. Guys, the Pirates just scored again. They're up 2-0 right now on the Padres. So hopefully they can hang on to this. I mean, it would be very impressive if they could pull out a series win in San Diego, because the Padres are not an easy team to beat.
Yeah, and I was just kidding about Ke'Bryan Hayes. He had the RBI, Cassidy.
Yeah.
So I think pretty much just as I said that. Now, to be fair, he was 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts last night. He's been struggling. So it's not an opinion unfounded, but maybe that's a start of something for Ke'Bryan.
Yeah, we'll see how this one pans out. Switching gears just a little bit, I want to talk some Steelers because we do have OTAs coming up this week. You know, I mean, hey, it's voluntary right now. Not, you know, TJ Watt, DK weren't there this week. Maybe we'll see them this coming week. I'm not really sure. DK Metcalf was out there a couple weeks before last week working out with some of the guys. But just early projections on these new guys coming in here, this new draft class. Who are you maybe most excited about? Yeah,
it's probably a tie for me, Cassidy. Derek Harmon has looked really good. I mean, we have to temper expectations a little bit because it's football in shorts, right?
Right.
Same thing for Caleb Johnson from Iowa. He might be the bigger surprise to me. I mean, when the Steelers took Derek Harmon, you expected to plug him into the defensive line pretty much immediately because of his pedigree. You take a guy in the 3rd round, I'm not sure you necessarily expect him to contribute right away. I really like what I've seen out of Caleb Johnson. I like what I've seen out of the running backs in general. I think they can be very good. But if you dig into Caleb Johnson's backstory, the amount of zone scheme stuff that he's done at Iowa, it's exactly what the Steelers are trying to do. And his speed, his size, the combination of those things, he's a very mature kid for his age, loves contact, runs well after contact. There's a whole lot of stuff there that adds up to, tells me he's going to have an opportunity for a role. I don't think you have a definitive back. I think it should be a pretty fluid timeshare with Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell very interested to see what young Caleb Johnson can do.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just excited we got both Caleb Johnson and a vet and Kenneth Gainwell in here, because Jaylen Warren, I mean, after Najee left, the first thing I said is, Jaylen Warren is not an every down back. I just don't think he really can sustain that. And so I am glad to see that we brought in some help for him. Yeah, and then we'll see how this wide receiver group kind of pans out. It's always a question mark, but hey, the Steelers are apparently in trade talks with Miami to get Jonnu Smith here, and that's yet another tight end to add to the roster. So, I guess Arthur Smith is planning on going with like 6 tight ends. And hey, if that can compensate for missing wide receivers, I guess it's a guy who can catch the ball, right?
Yeah, it is. And I wouldn't have a problem with it per se. I don't see how he fits. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, this reeks of the Matthew Stafford situation where a guy's not happy with his contract, and the team and the player both kind of flirt on the outside, and he inevitably stays. I can't imagine why Miami would allow Jonnu Smith to get away. Caught 88 passes for about 800 yards and 8 touchdowns last season, or almost 900 yards, I should say. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. He's a good player, but he's also kind of blocked. It would be convoluted with Pat Freiermuth. The Steelers need to get another pass catcher, but they need another wide receiver. I was impressed by Roman Wilson this week. Calvin Austin III did some things last year. Obviously, there are zero questions about DK Metcalf, but after trading George Pickens, who's their number 2? I don't think they have one. If DK Metcalf would get hurt, I don't know who steps into that role. I think you sort of have to wait until after you get a quarterback in place, and I know that's a fluid situation we'll discuss, but I would rather see them hold off on Jonnu Smith and procure a number 2 wide receiver.
Especially because the reports are that he wants to leave Miami because they're refusing to pay him. I mean, does he think that the Steelers are going to? I just don't think. They just paid Pat last year. So, I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. You mentioned the quarterback, though, guys. This is our Xfinity question of the night. Go ahead and scan your phone up there, tap the QR code. What will happen first? Penn's hire head coach or Steelers sign Rodgers? Now, if you remember, Kyle Dubas said the plan was to get someone in here by early June. Reports saying that he's in the final stages of those interviews right now. It's a little tricky because there's some other open head coaching positions across the NHL, and I think there's like 4 or 5 guys vying for those 3 spots. So I think other things kind of have to play out as well in order for this to happen. And with Aaron Rodgers, I doubt he's going to show up this week. I highly doubt it. I honestly maybe even doubt he shows up next week. But you just have to throw that question out there because it is Aaron Rodgers, and you just truly don't know what this guy is going to do. Yeah,
I think the Penguins might hire 2 or 3 coaches before Aaron Rodgers signs here. That's what it feels like at this point. This wait has been interminable. It's crazy. I don't understand, Cassidy, why the Steelers continue to do this. I don't think Aaron Rodgers makes them that much better. I think he makes them a little bit better. I would prefer they just run with Mason Rudolph at this point and see what he has. I don't think the Penguins coaching search is going to take all that much longer. I think it's probably going to be Mitch Love, the Capitals assistant. I think we see some news on that before too long. Like you said, Kyle Dubas wants him in place early June. It's logistics, too. Kyle Dubas was over in Sweden for the World Championships. He's doing face-to-face interviews now. I have a feeling those are probably either wrapped up or darn close to wrapping up. And he also has to get up to Buffalo for the NHL Scouting Combine, which starts on Sunday. So he's kind of between things, having to smash it into a small little space, but I think we get some news there.
Yeah, geez, that would be exciting. All right, let's get some callers. John in Johnstown. John wants to talk about Will Howard.
Yeah, I don't understand why we keep talking about Rodgers, but I think we have a franchise quarterback in Will Howard.
John.
This is not the first time I've heard this. Look, Steelers fans are very, very high on Will Howard. Everyone's very high on him, and hey, I get it. He looks great. He's a big guy out there. He kind of gives you Ben-like feels when you're watching him running around out there in his shorts. But we have a very long offseason ahead of us. He's a rookie. Yes, he's a national champion, but I think there's, a lot at play here still before we can really claim him as a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 0% chance he starts week 1 as long as Mason Rudolph is healthy, Cassidy. Yeah. I mean, come on. I'm not discounting the kid. I want to see him learn and get better, and I like him a lot. But, he's a 6th-round pick. He's not going to get thrown in there right away. Nobody's crazy for acting like, we're not giving him his just due or something. Come on. It's going to be Mason until Aaron Rodgers signs or something else happens or whatever, and that's as it should be. Let Will Howard develop as a rookie and let him be a 6th-round pick with a little bit of pedigree.
Yeah, and that's the important thing too with these quarterbacks is you really don't want to rush them out there. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes took time behind Alex Smith.
Yeah, but Will Howard got to get out there now.
Yeah.
We got to get Will Howard going. Sorry, John.
Oh, man. Yeah, yeah, it's not smart. With the quarterback position, you really, really need to develop that and make sure these guys understand the playbook. Because the other thing is so much of it is confidence, too. You can't just throw them out there because if they mess up early, then it could just spiral and they could get the yips and it would be really hard to get out of that. So you definitely need to develop them. And I think Mason Rudolph has been around for a while. And even if Aaron Rodgers doesn't end up coming here, I think Mason would be a great guy that Will Howard can learn from.
Yeah, I mean, just eliminate Aaron Rodgers for a second. Pretend that he doesn't exist. Doesn't Mason Rudolph at least deserve the opportunity to play a little bit? I mean, I understand Will Howard can have the greatest camp in the history of camps. Mason Rudolph deserves the opportunity to start a few games for the Steelers and show what he can do. I would challenge anybody to disagree with that opinion. I mean, one day, hey, maybe Will Howard comes in there and plays, and that's great. For the time being, I want to see what Mason Rudolph can do.
And I completely agree with you there. All right, guys, we're going to take our last break. Give us a call, 412-575-2600. We'll be right back after this.